we will call this meeting to order at 6:34 p.m. And at this time, we would like to welcome everyone and stand for a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. This is review of the agenda and adoption of the agenda, and since it's a special call meeting, we can only remove things, you cannot add anything, just as a reminder. So with that being said, does anybody,
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
motion by Ms. Hall,
I'll second that.
second by Mr. Dorsey, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 4-0. All right, public comments. Thank you. All right, Miss Hannah Staggs. What was your name? Honey?
Anna Wilson.
Okay.
So are you guys all going to present kind of together, is that what I'm? Okay.
Hi, my name is Anna Wilson, and I'm representing the Clark County's Board of Education Superintendent and Principal Advisory Corps. I am also accompanied by fellow executive committee members. This year we had the privilege of electing officer positions. With that being said, I was elected to serve as the committee's president. Zach Ross serves as our vice president. Abby Horn is our parliamentarian, and last but not least, Hannah Skaggs serves as our secretary. We are honored to have the opportunity to grace you all with insights on our 3 subcommittees' updates and plans for the future. Now, without further ado, Abby, our parliamentarian.
Hi guys, I'm Abby. She said I was the parliamentarian, but I'm also over the scheduling committee. The establishment of the scheduling committee focuses on addressing graduation requirements, scheduling, and course offerings. We have also reviewed dual credit classes and BCTC opportunities. In addition, we have provided information to upcoming freshmen about graduation requirements and efficient scheduling. This ensures that students are well informed about their academic journey and can make informed decisions about their course selection. The committee is hoping to meet with counselors and administration to analyze current credits and requirements, pathways, elective classes, and co-ops. The committee also looks forward to partnering with counselors as they are in the process of revising co-op and job shadowing opportunities.
Hi guys, I'm Hannah. I'm the secretary of the committee, and I'm also head of the community committee. The community committee of the Superintendent Advisory Council has prepared a life skills workshop for the 2025 juniors and graduating seniors of GRC. These classes will prepare young adults for everyday essentials of life, such as how to change a tire, how to jumpstart a car, perform basic CPR skills, and many more essential life skills. Next year, our committee plans to hold these workshops in the month of January. The workshop will be prepared for our next generation of success. In addition, the Superintendent Council was able to partner with the Equity Commission Coalition and the Pritchard Committee. The partnership allowed GRC students to engage in inclusive conversations with those from diverse backgrounds. In future, our partnership will ensure students' voices are heard throughout the community and will continue to promote a long-lasting, inclusive town culture.
And I am also speaking on behalf of Zach, our vice president. He is the chair of our culture committee. This year, the council also established the culture committee, as mentioned earlier. Their goal was to inquire the student body and faculty concerning their satisfaction with the environment regarding diversity, organizations like the Get Rowdy Crew, Pep Club, and other clubs that cater to different members. In doing so, they work to encourage and promote equal inclusion amongst all clubs and organizations. In addition, the community communicated with Pep Club to discuss their procedure for electing their student section leaders. In previous years, section leaders were chosen by teachers only. This resulted in a lack of club spirit along with unfulfilled officer positions. Next year, the committee is looking forward to partnering with clubs to encourage a more rigorous selection process to ensure better support and participation in promoting our Clark County athletic teams. This is all we have for you, and thank you for sharing your time.
Thank you all so much. We appreciate you all coming out tonight.
Yeah, I'd just like to add, we do have a 20-member committee, and we're looking forward to continue that next year. We're working on a plan for recruitment so that the freshman class has representation. But I just want to say it's been a joy to work and hear the voices of our students. I talk all the time about the North Star being, we make decisions based on what's best for students. I firmly believe we have to include our students in the conversation. And I've really enjoyed kind of hearing their ideas, and I'm really looking forward to getting to next year where we start putting actionable things in that you guys will see and work closer with the board, and having you guys meet with them possibly more often than not, just having to be the superintendent. I think this is probably the student voice piece that I feel like we need as a group more often than maybe once a year. So that's kind of my vision, and like I said, they asked how they could present to you, and I said, hey, why don't you come on my capstone presentation night, because they're a big part of the work that I'm doing and my team's doing. So thank you guys for being here, and thanks for making sure they're getting here. I appreciate that.
No problem.
All right. You're welcome to stay for everything, but you're also welcome to go. So,
See you later.
Okay, all right. But thank you for your time, being part of the process. Go Cards.
Now, Mr. Howard, I do want to say you invite us to all the meetings. I think I was able to make it to one. It's just that it's during the workday, and sometimes it's hard to get away. But the one I did attend was fabulous. So it's just really great to hear from them for sure. So.
Yes, thank you all so much.
Okay.
All right. Internal board business. Consider approval to update board procedure 09.42811AP.1 notice to individuals. And then Dr. Parrish. Do we need to come back? Oh, well, can we come back?
You just can't add anything. I think this is probably a pretty straightforward change, just to change the names, correct, Mr.?
That's correct. So we are getting ahead of, let me make sure I open up. And this is actually not a policy, it's a procedure. And it has
I'm
to
sorry.
do with Title IX. So we've got updated guidance, and this is just us updating the information on who are our contacts. So that would be our district Title IX contact being Dr. Tammy Parrish, and then 504 coordinator being Abby McCormick. When my team and I were doing a review, actually that had not been updated, so we wanted to make sure that it had the correct names in there. So it's very kind of straightforward and simple.
Okay. Would they like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Bennett. Anybody want a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Dorsey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right. Consider approval of the purchase of 131 Promethean, am I saying that right? Promethean, okay. Interactive boards with relevant accessories from vendor PCS for $284,189.
That's pretty good, yeah, Promethean.
The Promethean.
It's a mouthful. Thank you. So I just wanted to provide a little bit of background of what's technology-wise is the status here at our schools. For about the last, since about 2015 or so, we began a project, and this is the culmination of that project. And the project was to try and get our schools our classroom set with interactive flat panels. We had been doing projectors, mounted projectors and projectors on carts for many years before that. And those had a lot of deficiencies. They weren't always advantageous to learning. And they were starting to be on their last legs. And so I'm starting with Baker and then slowly through Campbell, Shear, Strode, preschool. We started to get these interactive flat panels, and it's essentially, looks like a TV, but it's got a computer built into it. The interactivity, all manner of built-in lessons and apps and everything a teacher could want. And from the moment they've been in to Baker, teachers that use them, it's like once you start having that experience in your classroom, you never go back to a projector like it. The feedback we've gotten has just been an amazing career-changing type of device in their classroom. So this is the culmination of that project. The 3 remaining schools that don't have interactive flat panels, that are still using old projectors, is GRC. They're still using the mounted bulbless Casio projectors that were ordered in 2012 and mounted in 2013. And then Concord and Justice have something around the same lifespan that are called short throw projectors, like they mount to the wall. We talked about it a little bit earlier. They mount to the wall and an arm comes out and it shines a projection screen on the wall. The projectors, for the most part, don't have any interactivity. They're just dumb displays. Like they just throw up whatever's on the teacher's computer screen. And what's happened is after 10, 12 years, the bulbs on these have gotten dim. The ones at GRC are bulbless. They have little LED lights, and those have gotten dim, and there is no replacement for them. The projector market has done a bit of a reverse bell curve. So like when some new technology happens, it's pretty expensive, but then everybody gets on board and it lessens the price. But now a lot of vendors are getting away from projectors, and there's really only 2 or 3 major ones left, and so the price has gone back up. You can't find bulbs, they're really expensive. You can't find people to service them, and there's no warranties left on any of the projectors. And it really has become a matter, and Superintendent Howard and I have discussed this, really it's become a matter of equity. The 3 schools, Concord, Justice, and GRC, just the teachers, their displays is not at the same level, and the kids aren't getting the same experience as they are at the other schools that have the interactive flat panels. So that's what this project does, is brings equity about, just so the teachers, sometimes I think that classroom teachers or administrators think that the technology department or central office will just throw stuff at them and be like, you have to do this, thou shalt. This wasn't the case. We actually put a demo board in Concrete, invited teachers from Justice and GRC to come over and use them, and got rave reviews. I think the bulk of the teachers at these schools are on board with this. It's not gonna, there's not gonna be any friction there. The boards are 75-inch screens, which I put in my handout that's same size as these, but actually I think these might be 65-inch ones when I was going back and looking at my purchases. So if so, it's another 5 inches diagonally on each side, so it's bigger than these. And there would be 131 total. I conferred with each principal, each of the 3 principals, and Mr. Toy at GRC, after talking with his staff, said that the 75 that they would want to have go in their school, they want to have on mobile carts. So the teachers are a little more mobile with them and put them where they want to go. The 28 at Concrete and 27 at Justice, so 56 total, at the elementary schools would be mounted on the wall, much like these, as the principals thought that would be a little better situation there. It would still give the teachers some dry erase board space also. As opposed to the interactive flat panels that are at Baker and Campbell and Shear and Strode and preschool now, these are brand new, and they are 4K, and they have full visibility. You don't have to have, it's not like projectors where you have to, shut the blinds or dim the lights. Students that have audio or visual impairments aren't going to be, they're still going to be able to hear in the back and see even if they're 180 degrees from the screen. Erase with your palm, use interactive pens. Don't use interactive pens, use your finger. There's 20 points of touch, so in theory 20 students could get up on the board and be working on a problem simultaneously. And what I like, what I like is that the boards are remotely managed. manageable, which means that we have all of our Chromebooks managed in a setup called a Google Admin Console, and we can push out all kinds of updates and like controls over how Chromebooks interact. This would also fall under our Google Admin Console. So if we see that it's Saturday and a couple of teachers in the high school math department, we can remotely see that their board has been left on. Well, it's a waste of electricity, it's a waste of lifespan on the board, so we can remotely turn those off. We can remotely do firmware updates and updates in general. We can reboot. So that'll help us a lot on the technology side too, where we can do a lot of things remotely, save the district from an operations cost as well. As I've already said, there's talking with teachers over the last 7 to 8 years at all the different schools. This has a huge instructional impact. The interactivity in particular, the engagement with the students collaborating on these boards. Students can share their screen up on the board, but it's pin controlled by the teacher, so no, a student can't just throw anything up they want to, but if the teacher's like, hey, let's recognize Ashley's work on this problem, Ashley casts up to the screen, the teacher sees her screen come up and it clicks accept on her computer and it shows up, and we can use Ashley as a recommendation. The boards all have overlay annotations, so I can take a pen or my finger, and if I have something under my document camera showing up on the board, like a math problem, I want to point to the numerator, just take my finger and circle it, and it shows up, and it's very clear. So it really has changed the way that teachers have instructed at our schools that have these boards. It's got Google Drive integration, so teachers don't have to feel like they're recreating anything new. They can, one of the things I included on the packet was a picture. I had one of my technology resource teachers take. It's a picture of the home screen, and it's got like built-in 25 apps, and one of which is Google Drive. There's a camera app, so teachers can pull anything they want out of their Google Drive, which we've really stressed them putting things in their Google Drive the last 5 or 6 years. Pull anything out, annotate on it, underline that metaphor that's been used, whatever they want to point to. And I will say the second to last thing on this slide is it says external computers connect to the board as well. So these come with HDMI ports. A teacher can run a really long, or not really long, depending on how close their computer is, can run an HDMI cord from their desktop computer or the laptop to this board, and the board will show that too. But we're really trying to get one of the purchases that I'm making out of my technology budget is so my department has stake in the game too. Is I'm going to buy 131 wireless keyboard trackpad combos, so teachers can be walking out of the room. It connects with wireless or Bluetooth to the board, so the teacher's not tethered to their desk, right? They can just trackpad and type and walk around the room and engage with the students. So yes, teachers can be at their desk and type something and it'll show up, but I'm really trying to get away from that. As stated on the presentation, the total cost is $284,000, and it's roughly about 2,100 mounted, 2,200 with a cart for GRC. Delivery's free, and the 5-year warranty is something that this vendor did special for us. I guess just to get our business, but also because we're ordering, so we want to order so many. And one thing about the 5-year warranty is, one thing I can say about these boards is we've really had very few incidences of repairs. There's been a couple at some of the schools that have had the boards the longest, like I think maybe 2 at Campbell, 2 at Baker, where the interactivity port has fallen apart and we've had to replace that. But as far as boards just not working, that hasn't happened. And we have a lot. We have a lot in the district right now. They'll take away our old projectors, which is a time saver off of our custodians or maintenance department. Whoever would be uninstalling a projector, it takes a long time to unbolt 131 old projectors, so that would be helpful. This pricing is good through June 30th. It's a special deal I got with the vendors. They really want to earn our business, and I have check references, and it's a very solid vendor. I don't know if it's the vendor that Fayette County used, but I do know that Fayette County recently, you might have seen, went interactive flat panels in all of their schools, all of their classrooms, and so I just think that kind of shows that's the way that a lot of districts are going. We're kind of trailblazing, but we're trailblazing with a little bit of background behind it too, a little bit. This is a overview of what the board does. My one regret is that I don't have a board up here to show you. We have ordered a couple of these already, as like GRC ordered a couple as test models, and Phoenix actually ordered some too. But obviously they're already in classes, like they're being used. So I didn't want to try and wheel it all the way from GRC into a van and over here. So, but the videos just kind of tells you what it does. So, other than that, yeah, I'm seeking your approval for approval of this purchase of 131 interactive boards for $284,189.
How are they gonna decide in the elementary schools who gets them?
Okay, that's actually one bullet point I didn't talk about. So I went to the principals about a month or so ago, and I said, give me your have to have it, the rooms that there has to have a board in it, and then give me your best case scenario, like if money wasn't as much of an issue. And so what we did was then Mr. Howard and I decided on what we're going to fund, the minimum gotta have it, and then the expectation, and I've communicated this with the principals, the expectation is in the next 3 years, the principals have to find a way using their funds to fund out their best case scenario. So I think from Concrete that goes from 28 to like 35, Justice is like 27 to 34, GRC is 75 to 105. But basically, to answer your question, I left it in the hands of the principals and their staff, his administrative staff, to kind of figure out what they thought would have the most impact right from the start, and then 3 years down the road, we get everybody.
But it's my understanding that this would be in every regular education classroom in every building. That the extra would be in conference rooms, if they had a resource room, possibly. Again, I can't get into specifics.
So they'll go into classrooms
Correct.
first?
Correct.
Yes.
That was the mandate. They have to go into classrooms. So pretty much every teacher will get one.
Justin, did you see the stands that the ones at GRC will be on? Do they seem pretty sturdy? I'm just thinking kids, teenagers like to horse around. Sometimes I hate for
What?
go crashing to the floor or something. Do you feel pretty good about how it's on the stands?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, the one we demoed at Concord, we put on one of the stands that we actually got on the PCS stand, and it's not going anywhere. You'd have to, I don't know.
Is there a way to donate any of the projectors that they're taking out?
I think so. We could definitely, we could look at that option. It just falls under all of the other e-waste statutes which I have to follow. So yes, I know we've donated projectors and computers in the past to some community organizations that needed it. So yes, the many of the projectors do work. They're just they're dim, but
Yeah.
Just a little.
And how is this going to be funded? Which fund is it coming out of?
It's going to be funded out of, we budgeted it in general fund for next year as part of our budget. So you'll see it built in the budget, so this is not an extra out of contingency. And then also, Mr. Case is going to be using some CATS money as a match. So none of this is dipping in, and like I said, it'll be part of the budget. That's something that I want to ensure of. I'm not asking you guys for extra things. It's either committed money or it's already built in the budget. But at least now we're very diligently to make sure that was the case.
the vendors said it would take about a week to get the ones mounted at Justice and Concrete. So I'll work with the principals to, pending approval, I'll work with the principals to set aside the best time for the installers to come when they're not waxing. And I don't want to wait too long. I'd like to get the teachers before they leave to maybe mark an X on or put some tape where they would like roughly the board to be. Obviously it's got to be close to power, but beyond that, there might be some odd situations where a teacher is just like, my whole career I wanted to have something on that wall, right? And now I got the chance, I don't want to miss it, so.
It's yes, it's a need for the future. It's you're gonna keep up with, especially if it makes it that much easier. I can only imagine how much it makes it for the teachers to not have to put something on the projector or change it every single time, get on the computer, and be able to.
Does that mean you're making a motion?
Yeah, I'll make
Is that what I'm hearing?
I will happily, yes, I will happily make the motion to approve the purchase of the 131 Promethean interactive boards with the relevant accessories.
I will second that.
Motion by Mr. Dorsey and second by Ms. Simpkins. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Casey.
All right. Acknowledgement of presentation of new superintendent, Dustin Howard.
All right, so I've got some packets for you guys to look at. Of course, you also have the uploaded information if anybody wants in the community out here. If you want a copy of it, you can also have a copy of it too. Anna Wilson definitely wants a copy. She's stuck around. You talk about next level of leadership. I just want to brag on Anna Wilson. She'll probably be sitting in this chair one day running everything. That's how, or maybe President of the United States. I'm not sure, one of the two. So,
Sure. Do that next year.
first, thank you guys for being here tonight. So what this is every superintendent has to go through a new superintendent cohort. This is the culminating project that highlights kind of evidence of superintendent standards. So what we're going to go through is essentially just a general overview of the vision of the district. Next, we'll go to my specific professional growth plan and goals, two major ones we'll talk about a little bit, and then we'll go through standards 1 through 7 with some evidence that will highlight my work and our work. Before we get started, I want to make sure and highlight some folks that I couldn't have done this without. And, first and foremost, my wife, Rachel, married to me for 23 years, bless her heart. And my son, Jones, and my daughter, they really are the center of what I do, my family. And they sacrifice a lot for me to be able to do this job at a high level. And I'm blessed. I'm humbled and honored to have this position, first and foremost. But I could not do it without my family. The other thing is our kids, our students, we have the best kids in the Galactica. I'm gonna skip the state or the world. We do. We absolutely do, and they're gonna go change the world based on the education and support that they've received right here in Clark County. Again, thanks to the Board of Education for being very supportive of me, of our vision of making decisions based on what's best for kids. And I know that you guys spend time reviewing minutes and agendas and getting phone calls. And so I just want to thank you for your all's work in the community. And then my staff, Miss Kelly Fitton sitting there, so I'll brag on her. They're fantastic, and she leads the way with our instructional leadership. But even down to our bus drivers who get our kids to and from school safely, to the cafeteria workers that feed them, to our custodial staff to keep the buildings clean, to our teachers that deliver world-class instruction. Just special thanks to them, all our parent community stakeholders. And then I want to introduce Dr. Fred Carter, who's here on behalf of the KASA onboarding staff, who's been a great mentor and friend to me throughout the year, along with Jan and Annette, and they've been great if I ever needed something. Also my mentor, Dr. David Gillum, is the superintendent of Madison County. We talk pretty much every week. He had a slight conflict because he's getting recognized by EKU as the superintendent of the year. So hopefully I'll take notes and learn a thing or two. I mean, he's been mentoring me for a couple of years now, so, but I do want to thank him for his time publicly. So just a little overview about our district. We've now, this says 5,400, we're actually closer to 55 and projected for 5,600 kids next year. We're growing. The beautiful thing is our district is a growing district as far as student population. I think it's because of our facilities that we have, for the programming and opportunities that our schools provide, and our caring and staff. So we've got, actually we're over probably closer to 1,200 students now. So vision, again, we want to, our vision is really one community, one vision, and we want our kids to be life ready, where every student matters. Whether it's college, career, we're really focusing on workforce readiness. We want our graduates for the diploma to mean something, be prepared to be successful and citizens that, again, like I said before, can change the world. which ties into our beliefs. We're going to work with all students and prevent, poverty is not going to be a barrier for our kids. In fact, it's public education. Public education is the conduit to overcome and provide opportunity. We're going to do that we're doing that at a high level and even higher level, and again, focused on workforce ready. As far as our professional growth goals, I put 2 of them on there. Goal 1 is instructional leadership. At the end of the day, yes, we have to keep our kids safe, we have to feed them and get them home, but we have to provide a world-class education. That starts with Tier 1 instruction in the classroom. Ms. Fitton and I have worked very hard on all of our principals to really tighten up what does quality Tier 1 instruction look like, which is the next slide. And we've documented kind of 5 pillars: continuous development, professional development, congruency, student engagement, differentiation, and monitoring. It's a newsflash. If you don't monitor it, it does not get done. There's the accountability piece that we've really kind of ramped up on, and it does make, frankly, some adults feel uncomfortable because complacency is easy to fall into, and we have to create a culture of sitting up a little bit on the edge of our chairs because it provides a better service for our students. And so, again, over the next couple of years, you're going to see a lot of the monitoring piece, whether it's looking at data and breaking down data, looking where we're at, because if you don't look at where we're at, you can't make educated decisions. And then you're throwing hand grenades out, and I don't like that. We're going to have a very targeted approach. Again, the next couple slides are really just about specific things. Again, with learning targets, things we're monitoring. Phonics. We have a phonics curriculum in Clark County. We did not have that before. I'm not going to go on the past, but we're teaching phonics heavily, specifically 1st and 2nd grade, because that's when kids learn how to read, not read to learn. If we don't get the learn how to read part right, there's gaps, and we're catching up. And I'm extremely proud of our principals and our staff with Oregon Gillingham curriculum we've implemented in the training. Every staff gets trained 5 days before they ever step in the classroom with kids on teaching reading, because that changes the world. If a student can read by the time they leave us, they've got an opportunity. Tightened up common assessments. The next slide really talks about just specifics at the grade levels of even with common assessments, so that an education at Justice does not look different than what was being taught at Conkright, Justice, or Stroke. The standards are the standards. We're really delving into what the standards are. And then we're assessing on that across the district, and that's something that we've been able to do in year 1 and 2 that again, that a lot of districts aren't being done, and here what was not being done before. So kind of goes through those things. And then the student engagement piece with Kagan, we'll get into more of that in a little bit. Differentiation, just some more details on specifics that we've rolled out that you guys have gotten really highlights of, is we have an instructional spotlight every single month. We have schools talking about these things, from station teaching to ELL to GT programming is as good as it's ever been in Clark County, but it's been very intentional with that. Goal number 2 was about strategic leadership. Some specific things that we've looked at is really trying to listen. And again, I'll go over these standards in a little more detail when we go through the standards, so just kind of wanted to reference it to the things we've been working on. We had the entire district went through an accreditation process, which is reviewed by Cognia. We just got approval that basically says we are certified, and we'll be going over that through the Cognia accreditation process. We've got a lot of highlights on that. Again, that'll be for a separate board meeting later when I get the details. Something that we'll work on for next year, and I put this here strategically because it kind of ties into the work that we'll be moving towards. I made a video, some things will be going out to staff next week about this journey, and it's the portrait of a learner. So that's kind of going to be on next steps too. All right, let's see. We got standard 2. There we go. Instructional leadership. These are some examples. The high school will get their 5th day of Kagan training on Monday, but every teacher in the entire district has had all 5 days of Kagan training. what Kagan is really cooperative learning. So we're teaching kids how to learn cooperatively through engagements. So we're not just stand and deliver anymore, right? Especially with our younger kids, it also teaches them social skills on how to interact with each other. So there's a social component, but there's also an instructional component to make students have really a part in their own learning. With the monitoring piece, again, walkthroughs and coaching, use of technology. Well, you guys just approved $280 some more $1,000 worth of use of technology, so that some schools have access where other schools have not. So we're even the playing field on that. All right. So where are we at right now?
What are you
I
doing?
may have skipped down too much.
We can get it in the picture here.
Oh, all right. So go to this slide. Is that my bad?
Page 9. Looks like you're playing a game. Looks like a house of fun.
So the other examples here, some instructional leadership, again, the instructional spotlights, classroom walkthroughs. The other picture of me is, I go to classes all the time. I've been to probably 150 classrooms in the district. I get excited. I don't know if you guys can tell that, but that's a picture of me working through, actually, the student, this was at Justice, was teaching me how to do long division, I think. And she said I got it right, and apparently I let out a gigantic big woo and scared the teacher to death in the process. And they just happened to catch me mid-celebration there, throwing it up and celebrating. But I think it's important that your superintendent's in classrooms and not just listening to things that are going on.
I appreciate it.
Let's see, go to the next slide. So cultural leadership is standard 3. These are some pictures. I think one large thing we've done is try to be out and about in the buildings with staff events. This particular thing, I wouldn't miss a chili cook-off. This one about killed me though, because it was at 9 in the morning. And if you're trying to taste, I think it was 19 or 20 chilies in one morning before, I think Ms. Ritchie might have been there with me. We had some times after that. But the staff enjoy seeing you and interacting. It provides, again, a connection between, what has been before separate, right? Central office and then schools. And there wasn't a conduit, they weren't connected. I've really tried with our staff to be in our buildings. The board report is another great thing culturally because it's very transparent. Before, you either had to come to a meeting, watch a meeting, sometimes with popcorn. Now we summarize everything. We have our own PR plan, our report. We get to celebrate the pictures, but also give details, descriptions of what we've decided on. And that not only goes out to our parents through Infinite Campus, it goes to our staff. The staff have been really appreciative, and then I actually send it to all of our community members, from the chamber to the ministerial association, and they send it out. So that we've even had some churches print it off and put it, there on Sunday mornings when we get done, they can grab a copy of the board report. We have to communicate with what we're doing because we have to engage more people. The work can't be the 6 of us, and and I think culturally, once our community buys into that, and really takes advantage that it's not just a talking point on Mr. Howard's presentation, but it's going to take us all to overcome the barriers that our kids face right now. And so that's another great piece, I think. I've tried to do more as a group. This is us having a Christmas holiday meal at Holyrood. So part of our culture is our community. Lots of folks, I don't know if you knew out there, Holyrood used to be the Board of Education. The superintendent used to live upstairs at Holyrood. So we went there to eat and kind of heard a history of, the board actually still owns that property. We just leased it to the Historical Foundation to let them preserve that building. I mean, so there's a lot of things. The other thing we did, I don't have a picture of it here, we actually put all of our principals on a bus. Kelly loved this. And Jerry Cecil, who was a fantastic man, by the way, Colonel, led a tour and drove to all of the historic schools, from the schools that had been closed down to schools that we didn't even know were schools because they were one-room houses that used to be schools. Because I think it's very important for us to be proud of the school system from way back before it was even Clark County Public Schools. So there's another example culturally. Again, Hall of Fame. We started the first ever Clark County Hall of Fame I have no idea why it wasn't done previously, but we've now had 2 classes. The new Hall of Fame will actually be opened up for nominations in June. Our whole community was there that night, if you guys remember. I think Dr. Carter even visited the day we were setting up for it. And now if we haven't been to the high school, we actually have their pictures up on our walls in the high school so our kids can see our history. And it doesn't just become a one-day event, but you can read about Judge Adams and all the folks that are in the Hall of Fame right now and how they got there. I also, I'm about the 800th birthday card of the year. This is something I picked up from Dr. Carter. I think some districts have done it before, smaller. I'm not sure. I'm starting to get carpal tunnel. But I do. LT prints off a list of birthdays that month, and I take time and write every single one on the birthday card. And you could not imagine the feedback I've gotten where they appreciate that. And we also give them a little $5 gift card to different big, most of it Dairy Queen, so they give them. I'd get Frosty, to be honest with you. Some people get coffee, I think, but that's been something again to increase. Standard 4 is human resources. Make sure I'm on the right one here. I'm not moving as fast as you guys. Here we go. This is something that really in the state of Kentucky, folks are taking notice of. These couple pictures here is one, our new staff daycare. It's not done in other districts, guys. I mean, we've got folks reaching out from Pikeville to Paducah trying to figure out how we pulled this off. It's a great staff retention and recruitment piece because we're getting staff and at the prime age that are having families, and some of them might leave the profession because they can't afford childcare. Well, now they can. We also got recognized by KDE for our work with our health clinic. We partner with our own health clinic, so we're actually getting ready to expand that work, which that's a surprising light I'll leave for later. But that's us with Dr. Tara Cruz and the health center folks. I think there's me in the background there. I think we can smile there. Some other examples of what we've done human resource wise is our ramped up with our professional learning. Again, our recruitment retention package. KSA, which is our state organization, they've actually asked Ms. Fitton and Dr. Parrish and I to present at the state conference as a model of things we're doing with recruitment and retention. So we'll be going down there in July, so other districts can learn from what we're doing with recruitment and retention of our staff. Let's move on. What's that? Don't present too well.
No, don't give up all your ideas.
It's one of those things that, I mean, I guess they start stealing it on you. So here's an example of some PD, and actually this next year is even more impressive to where it's individualized to specific teachers. So PE teachers, for instance, are going to get professional learning on PE. Our teachers are going to get professional, and that's been a big hit when we've done other surveys. It's not as personalized, and again, I give a huge shout out to Ms. Fitton and her staff. Standard 5 is a managerial leadership. A couple pictures here. There's our new, probably the biggest thing that we're in the process of is building a new preschool. Kind of fits in. Senator Elkins came down, did a tour, me and Mr. Watkins. We also did a financial audit. This was something that probably didn't get as much publicity, but for us was huge. We actually audited the entire maintenance department and transportation department, and a lot of it also were uncomfortable. But we were bleeding, and I've said it publicly, we were bleeding out money and overtime and some other things, and diesel and idling time, and this gave us almost a manual of how to tighten up costs, which is one of the reasons why we can then give staff a raise, right? It's not necessarily we're raising taxes everywhere. We're finding money that before we weren't being intentional with, and this audit was huge. I just kind of, Ron Flanner was big with helping us with that. Also, speaking of tighten up spending, we now lease cars from Enterprise. That was another cost that we couldn't track. Whether, I couldn't get information. Again, let me say this, but I don't mean this as we were doing things poorly before. I'm just telling you things that we've done in the last 2 years that I feel like we've tightened up, because I don't want this to be a negative thing. But now I can tell you exactly how much money we're spending on every single car, maintenance, oil changes, and then selling our cars back at the peak time that we can actually get money back out of them, and not just let them sit on a lot and rot. and then sell them or give them away for $500, right? So we're being much more fiscally responsible with that because it's the taxpayers' money, and the more I can save in those areas with, I can then pour back into our staff, our students. So, next slide. Again, we've also, through our planning, we've committed monies. We've now replaced every single playground. The two that will get done now will be Justice and Concrete, and they'll be done. One of them will definitely be done before next year. We're trying to get them both done. And that money goes straight to our kids. And I tell you, what I've learned quickly is if you roll out a new playground, your attendance shoots up the next 2 months because kids want to come to school. And again, you laugh, but here's the deal. If they come to school, guess what happens to our attendance rates? They increase. So they're learning because they're at school. And oh, by the way, we as a district get more money because our average day attendance goes up, right? And I'm not trying to make it all about money, but without money, we can't educate kids at a world-class level. That's a fact. Cannot be done. Cannot run a Mercedes on a Pinto budget. You just can't do it, all right? There's my papa back. Bless his heart, he would understand that saying.
I think we do a playground at middle school and high school.
Well, Watkins is, that's on the,
Every age will go
that's on
outside.
the-
Will you not go on playground, Steve?
I was taking notes over here. We're getting the student council working on that.
Everybody likes to go swing.
There we go. Standard 6, we'll kind of jump down to that. I think we've made a lot of gains with our collaborative leadership within our community. Some specific things is I attend things, our kids attend things, our students. There's actually a couple of our students on the pictures here. At Rotary, Kiwanis Club, different clubs, it's something we need to expand. And that's on, my student advisory council was on the radio, had their own radio section. It was pretty cool. The radio has been a great partner. They actually have a lot of our students on there. I think plan on it. I've been to city commission meetings, meeting with the mayor. I have coffee every month with the mayor, judge executive. And I did that pre-election, post-election. Whoever's in office, I'm gonna meet with, right? It's not political for me, but we have to have connections. On the next slide, some other collaborations. Winchester PD Fire Department, they've now started inviting me to, I don't want this to come back to all potlucks, but they invite me to the cook-offs now. So like a couple weeks ago, Public Works versus City Hall versus the police versus the fire on a meat smoke-off. All
Hey,
right.
you forgot me on that one.
I did, sorry about that.
I did chili with you at the time.
Well, at one point, I had stairs from all directions, and I'm thinking, do I want my house to burn down, or get pulled over? No, I'm like, I can't, I'm just gonna tell the truth. So I ate, and, but it's been really good to bring, all of us together and understand we're on the same team, even though sometimes we don't agree on everything. We're on the same team, and we'll continue to make decisions that are best for our kids, frankly. We toured, I actually took these guys, we toured the industrial park. They didn't even know it was out there. We went through different companies. Our counselors have been out there now. I've spoke at the Industrial Authority luncheon. One of my favorite things is swim classes we do with our preschool kids through Parks and Rec. That's me at a graduation there. I did not know they were going to put my picture up down there. Now it's kind of weird when I walk in and I'm standing there. So again, lots of work has been done with really trying to get out and about the community. I'm on the Chamber of Commerce. If it's out there, if I'm not on it, send me an email and I'll try to get there. Because it's going to take all of us. Next up is influential leadership. Kind of the difference between this one and the collaborative. Influential is some of the things, the work that we've done outside our community. So meeting, for instance, when we were going through the budget and trying to figure out what we were going to land, I had meetings with state senators. I went to Frankfurt. We had, it's a picture of us at a breakfast where we had CKEC. I had some conversations with the governor. That's me and Dr. Gillum. There's me with Andy Barr doing some collaboration with the, actually that's at the museum downtown when the NASA museum, or not NASA, but the Bluegrass Heritage Museum. We've had all kinds of events, again, just trying to connect us. There's some with news stations. The next one, we had a press conference that's Dr. Gillum's in a lot of these, he doesn't know it, so this is gonna be fun for him to watch this. That's him paying attention, that's me, not goofing off, but I had to have evidence, for the capstone, so, there we are, again, we have a great relationship with not just the local media in the Winchester Sun, but I think that's a Fox 56, we've been on 27, we've been on 18, and all of it, other than a couple of things, have been pretty positive, highlighting, things. We've actually ran some commercials of why we're getting ready to work on another commercial, as I got inspired watching the Derby. Anyway, it's a different story, but, really to recruit, because the thing that we've got to continue to work on is informing people of the great things happening, because if we don't tell them, unfortunately, they go to other things, like the social media, and they think everything on there is true, and it's not. So we've got to continue to write our own narrative, and to showcase what we have. And I think, again, our community is tremendously blessed, and even with Dr. Carter's visits, he'll tell you, we've got one of the greatest school systems in the state of Kentucky, frankly. I'll let him speak to that later, but, all right, moving on. Kind of next steps, we talked a little bit through this, we're ramping up monitoring walkthroughs. We're also ramping up our professional development over the summer. Teachers already have that plan, because we have to train them very, very well. We're trying to compensate them very, very well. And then we're gonna monitor them to make sure that if they need support, we do it in real time and don't wait year to year till the state testing comes out. That's a terrible time to adjust because, well, we lost a year, right? I don't know, it's not rocket science to me, but that's something we're really looking on to. The other thing, kind of next step, there's some KSA data, there's some ways we're gonna hold people accountable. If you just go to the last slide, again, portrait of the learner is something we're gonna walk you through a little bit more. But I just want to kind of, again, thank everyone for growing greatness, and we'll back up one real quick. Again, for me, everything comes back to our kids, our students. And all those other dots are here to provide support to our students, period. And I'll continue to make decisions that are based on that. And then the last one, just goofy pictures of me of different things. Again, most of them are around our kids or hugging our kids, because that's where I spend my time. Go Cards. So I got a couple of woos.
Alright. Somebody have any questions for Mr. Howard? So I have comments. One, I'd like to thank you for giving us this past year and for completing all of this. You've done a great job, and I know it's taken a lot of extra time on top of the time you already didn't have. So we do appreciate that, and we consider ourselves very lucky to have you here. When we told you to become the face of Clark County, you took it literally and have now become the face of Clark County. I don't think there's anywhere now that doesn't know who Dustin Howard is. So we appreciate all the time and everything that you've put in to being the face of Clark County and Clark County Superintendent. And we also appreciate Rachel and the babies. For giving up their time, because I know it's very stressful and time consuming to be away from the kids. But yes, you've done some great things, and we truly are appreciative of everything you've done.
Yeah, and I'd just like to comment that sometimes when I tell people, yeah, I'm on the Board of Education, they just kind of roll their eyes and say, oh my gosh, bless your heart. And all I can say is it's been a very, very, very positive experience for me. Even those things that are difficult, with your leadership, have been made to be, have made us a productive team. And I really appreciate all the other members as well who are on this board, who work together for the students.
Yeah. Thank you.
I definitely feel like your investment shows through our students. Yeah, I mean, we couldn't be any luckier, so. I definitely appreciate your time. I mean, every time, anywhere I go, whether it be soccer or anything, there's not a person that doesn't know or enjoy or talk about, a great experience that they had when they saw you, or they, you know, they got to talk to you or anything, you always have a smile on your face, doesn't matter what's going on any other way.
That's right.
You know? So, yeah, you've been a blessing. I hope we can keep you around.
And I hear a lot of positives from staff. I have friends that work in the school system or parents who, I was at the African American Achievers banquet on Monday night, and I had several adults, you know, say thanks to you for all that you do. So, that was a really great program, and our collaborations in the community, you've done a lot to put yourself out there, but also I think it's bringing our community closer in a lot of ways. You hear go-karts a lot. And it's pretty impressive that we can make that our catchphrase. So, Clark County.
Thank you.
Yes.
I mean, you've done great things, and I mean, that's what Dr. Carter and I, before coming in here, were meeting with Mr. Howard, and I had some questions for Dr. Carter on how to get him to rest, because I'm like, you've got to take a break at some point, because he's everywhere. And we see his face, so that's one thing we need to make sure he does, is get some rest and slow down a bit. Not a lot, just a little bit.
Just a little bit, okay, all right, good point.
So, Dr. Carter, do you want me to turn it over to you now, or?
I'd like to say a couple of things.
Okay.
You want me to sit here or go up there?
You can do whatever makes you happy.
I think I'll just sit here.
All right.
I tell you what, this has been a great year. We judge by any and all standards. I'm so impressed by the board tonight. You've got a board that's rolling in the same direction, and a superintendent who is on fire for this district. And when you put that together with outstanding staff and students who are fired up and ready to do good work, I mean, sky's the limit. And he spoke earlier, and he wasn't blowing smoke. He said, this is one of the best districts in state Kentucky. And I've seen them all. I've been in every district in Kentucky. I'm a retired superintendent. I've been training new superintendents for the past 13 years. And so I've been in every district in the state. And this is, if not the best, it is one of the best, certainly. And other people are looking at you and they're expecting things from you. And I'll fess up. A lot of things he sends me in terms of communications you guys are doing here already. What do I say? I say, please send that to the other superintendents in cohort 12, because that is textbook best practice. And I know he's really smart, and I know he's really organized, and I know he's really emotionally connected and is just full of fire. I confessed earlier, he's got me saying go Cards so much that I say that the wrong times. I'll be in another district and I'll fire off a go Cards and they look at but he says it every time he enters a room. You know, we have new superintendent training. We've been together 17 days this year, and new superintendent training in various places in the state with the other new superintendents. And every time he enters a room, you know, he won't even have to say it, but several people, other superintendents will say, go Cards. It's a part of it, part of the training. So I'm impressed. He does have a lot of energy and enthusiasm, and you said it, he always has a smile on his face, even when you know there's a little bit of stress there on the surface. So I talked to Ms. Ritchie earlier, and I said, you know what, you got to make sure that you do try to support him any way you can and encourage him to take a weekend off occasionally with his family and that kind of thing, because he may be laying on the beach in Gulf Shores some weekend during the summer. He's not really off the clock, because if that phone rings, you know, 24/7, he's superintendent of Clark County Schools and he's going to deal with it. And he knows it, and he should do that. But he still has to have some downtime, and don't want him to just, you know, pop with someone.
Burn the candle at both ends.
Yeah, but I told him also, look forward about 3 years down the road, we're going to be using him as a superintendent mentor, just as Dr. Gillian was his mentor this year. He's that good. He needs to be mentoring new superintendents. And we always kind of say, well, you got to wait 3 years and prove that you've led your district in a positive direction and the good things are happening, and we'll do that, but we might make an exception in his case and go 2 years and say, come in here, buddy, you need to mentor a new superintendent. But I'm very proud of him. Congratulations. He just finished new superintendent training. And that's not an automatic. We've had some superintendents who failed it, quite frankly. And when they fail it, what happens? They lose their superintendent certification and they lose their job. But he's completed it. He will receive, we've got one more meeting together, June 10th, I believe, in Frankfurt for a day and a half. And then he'll be meeting with the new education commissioner and with me and with some other folks, with the rest of the new superintendents on July 24th in Louisville. I told him this meeting is going to be a lunch meeting at Jeff Ruby's where he'll receive his superintendent certificate, his certificate of completion of new superintendent training from the commissioner. And the commissioner will shake hands with him, I'll shake hands with him, pictures will be made. I told him, that's a step up, because when I completed new superintendent training those years ago, they gave us all a bologna sandwich. Things change, usually it's for the good. But I'm excited, just listen to this. This was well put together, and again, many times through that, he said, this is what our team's doing. This is not what Mr. Howard's doing. Even though he doesn't take enough credit for things he does, but he does share the credit with others, and I like that, because it is a team approach. He's not able to accomplish anything on his own, but he's got some really good people working with him, and I've been impressed. I tell you something that you probably already know, but it shocked me when I spent a day with him earlier this year, and we went out on kind of a tour of the schools, and we stopped into the high school, and it was change of classes. Well, guess what? Every kid came down the hall, he knew them by name.
Yep.
I'm going, as big a high school as this, and you know all these kids by name? I mean, that shows something right there. I think that's very important. When I was a high school principal many years ago at Bouldering High School, I made sure I knew every kid by name. We had about 1,200, so that's what he's done, and that's important. But you've got the right person at the right place at the right time, and I sense the board is in synchrony in terms of working together. So I'm just going to be watching from afar the great things that are going to be happening in Clark County in future years, because there's really no limit to what can be accomplished. By the way, if the technology person, he's already gone. You still here? That was a great presentation a while ago. You made me want to run out and buy one.
I'm saying the same thing.
That's, it shows the board is focused on doing what's best for kids. And folks, that's what it's all about. So I have a student right now who's a freshman at Bouldering High School, a son, my youngest son, and I'd be glad to have him in Clark County Schools. That's how I feel about this school district. So, and I'm thrilled to have him in Bouldering. I mean, I'm not trying to look to move him, but you have a really good school district here. So be proud of what you have done, and be excited about what you can do in the future working together. So thank you. Congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
Before we close this up, I do think that we need to go circle back around. When Dustin first started this, he made, in his life, I think he's made two great decisions. One was Rachel, who was all adore.
Amen.
Yeah.
Still don't know how to pull that off.
Yeah, we love Rachel, she's amazing. Second one is sitting right back there with Miss Kelly Fifth, and she has been great and has came in just ready to go. So, because starting out, I mean, we handed him an empty shell and said, here, go fix it. So, and he's done great. And then we've continued to hand him more. I mean, you've lost 4 board members. We've added 4 new ones, and we just kept right on trucking. So, I mean, he's been through it that first year, and he's done great things. So,
Thank you.
but yes, we do appreciate you too, Ms. Kelly. All right, well, with that, we will consider adjournment to executive session per KRS 61.810, subsection 1, subsection F, discussions of hearings which might lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an individual employee, member, or student. Just so we're all clear, he's not getting fired. He's staying.
Okay, that's good. That's going to open up this other bottle. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Thank you, Ms. Pittman.
Do we need to make a motion?
I've got my Clark County umbrella.
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Hall, second by Mr. Dorsey.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, sir.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Appreciate what you guys do.
Appreciate you.
Good to see you again.
Yeah.